Hey there! Thanks for tuning in to Getting to the Root with Tracy Palmer podcast. Here, we're going to discuss topics and issues that will help you to become the best version of who you are. Our goal is to give you encouragement and information that will help you to execute your God-given vision. We are so excited you tuned in and hope you enjoy the show. Well, hey, and hello. Woo! Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneur Talk. I want to just thank everyone for joining us on tonight or today. I am so excited. You know how sometimes you have a few technical difficulties for those who are watching live. I do apologize for starting a little later than intended, but you know how technology goes. It happens. So we're hoping that all will go well as we go through this podcast today. So again, thank you all for joining. I am your host, Tracy Palmer, and I am again so excited to be with you. What do I always say, y'all? We got another hot one. Why do I say that? Anytime we bring on guests like this, it's always gonna be hot, y'all. Now, this lady, this woman right here, I don't know how this relationship happened, but all I know is this is my big sis, my business buddy, my sister friend, and I love her dearly. This is Michelle P. Jones. And before I get too far ahead, I want to remind everyone we are yet in our From Authors to Authority series, okay? We're still empowering, we're still educating, we're still giving those little nuggets to our authors. And so today, we're going to actually talk about ways to monetize your book and also ways to make it more visible. I know that y'all like, woo, I know this is a hot one because y'all sit around thinking that you got your book, you wrote it, and then that's it. But no. There is so much more that you can do. And I'm telling you, this lady right here, she's going to walk us through it. Y'all know I could keep going on and on and on and run my mouth forever, but I'm not going to do that. I want you all to get to know our special guest who I have learned to love dearly as my sis. We don't have good sense, so this show might be a little different. I'm just saying because I've been on hers several times, and if you watch, you know I don't act right. She don't act right. We don't act right. So just pray for us. That's all we ask is for your prayers. So again, thank y'all. So Michelle, hey, how are you?
I am fantastic. I am excited to be here. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to let people know exactly what is going on.
Okay, well, talk about you. Let's start with you.
Well, my name is Michelle P. Jones, and I am the writer's coach. I work with entrepreneurial creatives to help them get unstuck, to write their book in 31 days, to create a business around their writing journey, and also to step into the greatness space that awaits them.
Awesome. That was fancy. That just sounded all extra fancy, and I love it. So, you know, I had to mess with you. I love it. And I know as a testimonial that I want to give that there were some tips and some things that she gave me, which allowed me to reach the #2 best-selling author position in the category that I was in. So, and then I think I reached like #6 in another category. So, hey, so you can go ahead and cash this one in. It works. What she talks about, it really does work. So you know what? What else? I'm trying to think about any other testimonies that I want to give that she's helped me to do so much, y'all. I'm just saying, she get out there, she finds out information, she brings my phone off the hook. I'm like, listen, you got to hear this. And so she's always giving me and whoever very good advice on different platforms, different things. But the biggest thing that I've been impressed about is the fact that she has tapped into the whole, I call it that literary masterpiece arena, being able to really just get your literary masterpiece out there. And so when you listen to her, you'll understand what I mean. So, okay, Michelle, listen. So, ways to monetize your book or your literary masterpiece. Let me say this first. What I find out is that so many times people, they are stuck in the place of, okay, I believe that I've been given something to write, or I have a story to tell, or let's say if they have a fiction, I want to write something from that perspective. And then they're like, okay, I get the cover, because just to recap a little bit, we've dealt with self-publishing. We talked about covers. We talked about editing. We talked about all those different things. We talked about promotional products. So sometimes writers get, or authors get stuck in this one way of thinking, and they're like, okay, so I got the book, it's out there. I did my book signing, got my few friends and family and a few strangers to come out. Now, where's the big bucks? And then there's discouragement, because they're like, where's the big bucks? Why isn't it selling like crazy? What's going on? And then they get discouraged and they say, you know what? Forget it. Oh, whoever God had me to write it to, that's who it's for. That's what I just
I
can't
think
stand here.
sometimes people do themselves a disservice, and
Yeah.
I am one that I thoroughly and totally believe that you have to set an intention and an expectation for that book project. And a lot
Ooh.
of times we don't realize it, but you have to do it before you
Hmm.
finish the book.
Come on. Okay.
If you do it before you finish the book, then you've got a plan of action of what you're going to follow once you finish the book and
Hmm.
what it's going to look like later. And so that's where we hit, because I have to be honest, when I wrote my first book back in 2017 and published it, girl,
Hmm.
I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Me and Google became very good friends because I could Google anything that I needed to know to publish that book.
Yeah.
And then God had his hand on that project. So every person that he sent me to was honest, business minded individuals and did not mind sharing their wealth of knowledge with me.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. And that's what I appreciate about you. You do the same thing. It's like you give what others have given to you as well. So let's talk about it though. What ways have you tapped into that you can share, that are ways that maybe we don't think about as authors, that you can monetize your book? Okay, I wrote it. It's out there. I got it on Kindle. I got it on Amazon or wherever. It's out there. What else can I do with this book? What else?
Well, number one, my second book and my fourth book, I created journals that accompany the books. That's always an opportunity that you have. My second book actually has a workbook with it. So it's a book, a workbook, and a journal. And it's a whole set. So you have an opportunity to create other accompanying pieces to go with your book. So that's one way. Another way is to decide, how are you going to get your book out there? What's the purpose for your book? That's the biggest. Well, I everybody else was telling their story, so I wanted to tell mine. But why
Mm-hmm.
were you compelled to write the book?
Mm-hmm.
So is it because you want to start doing workshops and facilitate workshops and seminars? Is it because you want to start a speaking business? Is it because you want to do what I do, be able to coach people and get them to where they know the process for themselves?
Mm-hmm.
What is your why? Because whatever your why is, it will determine how you're going to utilize that book.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the key to the entire process. Know your why. So If you know your why, then it's easier for me to direct you. So, like, I have a client, their why is they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what I had to do is to get down deep into the why question, because you know that little kid that be, Mama, why? Mama, why? Why, Mama?
Mm-hmm.
So that's me with my clients. I take them through that why process to try to get them to understand we've got to go deeper into this thing. So it ended up that she was really interested in working with a specific community of people. And so, because she was interested in working with a specific community of people, we geared everything towards that audience.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the second thing was she decided that opposed to just doing the speaking, she wanted to be able to facilitate workshops and be considered an influencer and an expert in that arena. And so, with that being her case, we created digital products from the content from her book.
Mm-hmm.
So, the great thing about digital content and products is that once you put it up online, people can go at 3 o'clock in the morning and access it and do whatever they're going to do with it without you necessarily having to be there to monitor it.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And so she had that opportunity to be able to do the digital products. So that's one way to be able to monetize your book. So the other thing is that she started hooking up with some book clubs that were their mission lined up with her book.
Mm-hmm.
And so she started telling them, well, if you host my book, I'll come on and do a conversation with the author. Okay. And so what that did is that created an audience for her they bought the books. So there's the money right there. So now she's going in and she's answering questions live. So that's another way that you can monetize your book. Even if you decide that you just want to go on the speaking circuit and do it that way, everybody knows that when you show up somewhere to speak, whether it is online or whether it's in person, you have that social media content that you share with people. You have your website where they can get your books at, things like that. So people are more prone to purchase your books if you are there speaking. So those are 3 simple ways that you can monetize your book and that content. But it goes back to what I've been saying all along. You have to know your why. What is your intent for your book? Because you can't just go in and say, well, now I didn't wrote the book, and so I'm going to be a bestseller, and then sit down in your easy chair and think the money going to find you.
That's what they do.
Now and that's what
we do.
Right.
We do exactly that.
I did it. On my first book, I did it. But I went back and I said, what do I want to learn from this experience? Because I knew I wasn't a one and done writer. So I had to think about what I want to do. And that's where that strategic plan comes into play. Because once you put it down on paper, it's almost like you have a contract with yourself that this is what's going to happen. And so, I have the I am factor that I'm always talking about. You've heard me talk about it many, many times, the I am factor. And I am are the 2 most powerful pronouns when put together. They demand that the universe and your consciousness create an atmosphere for whatever you proclaimed after I am to find you. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, it comes to find you. It's the same thing when you create that strategic plan. You are identifying what you want, and then you begin to move and to set goals and to act in such a way to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so the best way that I can tell people to monetize their books, and to monetize it, is to create a business around your writing experience.
You said something there. That now, see, you done tapped into something. You about to get in trouble. Let me tell you why you done tapped into something. Because I'm a writer. Somebody will say, I just want to write. We don't we don't think that we got to create a business around it. See, same because I'm a coach. So I coach entrepreneurs that no matter what it is, whether you want to be a writer, but I don't coach authors. Hold on, let me say that. I don't coach in that way, but I teach the business structure. And so sometimes people forget that you need to have a business structure or a business plan. A business plan means you know the direction in which you want this to go. Whatever the it is, that's what that's what you're creating your plan around. And so many times when it comes to being an author, we're just thinking writing, just write, put it out there, write, put it out there, write, put it out there. But there's no real why. And that was key when you said it, like the why, the mission. And then you actually look at it like, okay, this is my business. How many ways can I squeeze this? How many ways can this become profitable for me? How many ways can I get this one book to do multiple things? No, and I bet this is like blowing people's minds because a lot of people like I just felt led to tell my life story. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like you said, telling your life story can also mean a journal that goes along with telling your life story. It can also mean you create topics, speaker topics from
Mm-hmm.
your life story. And now you're not only just a writer, you're a speaker now. You then, if you not afraid, then you could go off into being doing Facebook lives to just take a topic and podcast. I mean, so it, like you said, it doesn't just stop at once I put pen to paper and it becomes a manual and then boom, that's it. It's so much more. So we creating that business around that. That was key. That kind of like, hit that business coaching side of me that create a be business minded people. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I throw that in.
Well, one of the things, and let me back up a little bit, because before I started working exclusively with authors, I worked with small business owners and entrepreneurs. So I helped them create their strategic plan that would identify what they wanted their business to accomplish in year 1, year 3, and year 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so all I've done is taken those same skills and brought them over to begin to work with authors. Because when you start thinking about it in the way of a business, you do a mind shift. It's like
Yes.
the light comes on. It's like you can unscrew the light bulb and put in a new one, because now you've got all this clarity. And I think people need to understand that when I got into the game of writing, that's all I wanted to do was write. I just wanted to write. But what God began to show me was you can create a lifestyle and a career around writing
Mm-hmm.
if you set it up like a business. Because there are so many people out there that will pay you to write content for them.
Mm.
There's so many people out there that will pay you to write their blogs, to put the content in their blogs, to write articles. I write for 3 different magazines.
Wow.
I mean, I am in the midst, I kid you not, I'm in the midst of creating an ebook on that very topic. How you
Awesome.
can go out and make money, because there are people that are paying $500 upwards for 2,500 word articles or white papers or
Mm-hmm.
blogs. There are opportunities like that that are out there. The key to it is being in the right place at the right time to be able to get the information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we
Mm-hmm.
don't know what we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
All we know is we want to write. So I
Mm-hmm.
not only have my blog, but my publisher's blog. I write for her blog. I write for 3 other magazines.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I have my own stuff that I do.
Right.
And so it wasn't until God said, I know all you want to do is write, but
Mm-hmm.
I gifted you to teach. So I need you to do.
Wow.
I have nothing against my brothers and sisters of another color
Mm-hmm.
at all. But my goal in my business and in my life is to make sure that everybody that looks like me
Mm-hmm.
knows the information. I have one rule
Absolutely.
that I live by. I am not going to give you a fish so that you have one meal. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
teach you how to fish so you can eat for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it sounds like you're talking about opening your mind
Yes.
because you touched on something very key there when you begin to say, oh, I just wanted to write. I just wanted to basically do my own thing for me. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to write my books, but you got to be willing to expand your horizons. You got to be willing to launch your net in multiple places, not just, oh, I'm just going to stay in my boat in this one little area, but I'm going to launch my net wide so that I can catch many fish, not just one. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
about opening your mind because I think many times, again, I'll just speak from it from myself. Um, Now I don't claim to be an author like solely that's it, that's all I'm gonna do. But I know there are books within. But I know that I can't just say, oh, I'm just gonna write a book and then just do, blah, blah, blah. No, I know that I have to think what is the purpose of this writing right here, this literary masterpiece? What is the purpose of this? Who is it supposed to reach? How is it supposed to reach them? And what all can I do with it? So now I have to continue to keep my mind open so that I can always look at each thing, each book that I write as something that's going to build into something else and not just say, oh, this is something that I wrote. I just told my story or I just wrote a fiction. And now I'm just going to do a few vending events because that's another thing that we get caught. And there's nothing wrong with it, but you got to be, and I teach this, you got to be very strategic when you're doing vendor events. You don't just because everybody pops up and say, hey, I got an event, you want a table. It's not for you to go to all of them. They have to be profitable to you. Sometimes it's not, even if profitable in a way of whether it's monetary or connections, because sometimes it's not going to always be a monetary thing, but it needs to be profitable in one or two ways.
That's so true, but I think it's key in what you said, and it goes back to what I was saying as well. There has to be a strategic plan. You have to be purposeful and intentional in what this needs to look like for you.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of us is different. So, what we need is going to be different. Our vision for our books is different.
Mm-hmm.
So, understanding that that is the case, then we need to operate in a way that is indicative of what our journey is. Just because I may have done something doesn't mean that somebody else needs to do exactly what I did. Learn from
Exactly.
what I did and then put your own spin on it and make it work for you. I tell my clients that there is one ingredient that nobody else will ever have. I call it the secret sauce.
Mm-hmm.
That secret sauce is you.
Yeah.
There is a lot of things that we do that can be imitated, but they cannot be duplicated because they
Mm-hmm.
cannot do what you do, how you do it. Why? Because you hold the secret sauce. What
Mm-hmm.
is the secret sauce? You are.
Absolutely.
So if you are the secret sauce, then create a plan that has you as the focal point.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to do it like I do it because guess what? You haven't been in my shoes and lived my life to be able to do it the way that I do it.
Absolutely.
So just learn from what you saw me do. Pick up the tools, the skills, and the abilities that you've learned, and the lesson that you've learned, and then put your own personal secret sauce into the mix and make it work for you. because it's
Absolutely.
not going to look like what it looks like for you the way it looks for me, because
Mm-hmm.
we're two totally different people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think us as authors, we want to be the Michelle Obamas. We want to be
Mm-hmm.
the Barack Obamas. We want to be the Stephen Kings. We want to be the Catherine Coulters. We want to be the TD Jakes. We want all these things that they have. But guess what? We don't have the fame nor the notoriety that they have.
Exactly.
Their name alone brings money.
Mm-hmm.
There are publishers that are paying them to write their story,
Mm-hmm.
not our testimony.
Mm-mm.
There's a ministry here in Indianapolis that's called Use What You Got Ministries.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that is so prevalent because you're the secret sauce. Guess what? Use what you got. Make
Use
it work.
what you got.
Nobody else will be able to do what you do, how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come to me and you say, Michelle, I saw you on Tracy's show, and I'm really, really interested in making money off of my content, off of my book.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, so what do you plan to do with it? Well,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought you were going to talk me through that. I can't talk you through something if you've not considered it.
mm.
I can introduce the idea, but we cannot have an effective conversation until you've already considered the possibilities and visualize what you want to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The word of God says that the people perish for what? Lack of vision. Your business will not prosper if you have no vision. The word of God tells us that we are to write the vision and we are to make it plain. Why? So that others can read it and run with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So all of us has an audience that is divinely assigned to us. There are people waiting to hear what you have to say. God has already assigned them to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you have to do all this great maneuvering to find your audience. You just have to show up
Mm-hmm.
so that your audience can find you. But if you show up in Timbuktu and your audience is in Indiana, then guess what? You done missed it.
Mm-hmm.
As
Mm-hmm.
you get deeper into your why, your purpose, your intent for writing that book and for telling that particular story, your audience will begin to unveil itself. And so
Mm-hmm.
everything that you begin to create at that point comes in such a way that you begin to write for that audience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's
Absolutely.
it's kind of like when we were doing the series Soul Ties, the truth about soul ties. And when I brought you the idea, I said, well, these are the stories that God gave me.
Mm-hmm.
Delilah and Samson, Bathsheba and David, and Samson and all of his wives, or Solomon and all of his wives. And you was like, Michelle, that's my book. And I started laughing because I didn't know that.
Right.
But you see how God strategically brought that thing together,
Mm-hmm.
and he had already been working on you as a rewrite.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the vision happens. You come with the idea, you present it in front of the people that you're meant to be in front of, and then they pick it up from there and run with it.
Absolutely.
So I think we need to slow down the process and begin to realize that God has something specific in plan for you to tell your story.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we have to sit in that thing for a minute. We can't expect it to happen immediately, especially when we ain't planned for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like having that kid when you 38 years old and you didn't plan for it. You thought you were going into menopause.
Not at 38.
But it's that same thing. Everything happens as a surprise. Plan that thing out. Don't let it be a surprise. Plan it
Wait a
out.
minute. Hold on. Did you just say we live in our author life like a surprise? Hello, wake up. What you got for me today, Lord? He's like, what you playing for me today? I mean, what you playing? What's your plan? So surprise, just wake up like surprise me. No, we don't want them kind of surprises. We want to be, you said this earlier, we want to be intentional. Now, God will open up so many different doors. I am such a witness.
Amen.
I can't even begin it. This ain't even the platform for all that. Not today. That's gonna be another time and another place. But the doors that just opened, that I'm like, wait. But I was intentional about other things. That was the difference. When I became intentional about other things, doors that I wasn't expecting open. See, that's when those unexpected doors open. But you got to be intentional about something. You got to start off being intentional with a plan, knowing the direction. Now, you said something key with when you work with somebody, that they got to come in at least believing and knowing what they wrote about. If nothing else, they have to be so tied into their project that they breathe it, they live it, they eat it.
Yes.
They have to be, I don't say married to it, but you know what I mean when I say it like that. They have to be so connected that nobody else can tell them anything else. Somebody else can do is actually add to it. Nobody should be able to tell them
Right.
what it's about. They should be able to just enhance it. And that's what I believe I was hearing you say, that if someone comes to you, they can't just come to you and say, hey, I got this book, what I do with it? You're like, okay, I could tell you everything to do with it, but what's in your heart? Who do you want to reach? Where you said your audience, if your audience is in Missouri, but you over here in Mississippi, you got the wrong M. So you need to kind of figure out, who am I talking to? Am I talking to men, women, children, both, a mixture, older, younger? Who am I talking to? Married, single, divorced? Who am I talking to? And where are they located? Where are they located, whether naturally or spiritually? Where are they located in order to be able to effectively get the product to them? So I didn't know if you want to touch on that a little more, because I don't want to since we've had technical difficulties, I don't want to add anything else to this. Girl, listen, I ain't got time. So this is gonna be a shorter show. So if you wanted to add anything more to this part, then what I want to do is I'm gonna break, but I'm not gonna do the commercial. I want you to talk about yourself on the break, about what you got going on, and then if you had anything to add concerning how can people make their projects more visible. So I didn't want to take away from what I just said. So if you wanted to add to that before talking about what all you got going on.
No, because the next thing I was going to say was going to kind of be a lead in to the next question.
Okay.
But for me, I've been a busy little bee.
Yeah, you have.
One of the things that God spoke to me last year about was the direction for my business this year. And so I'm opposed to fighting it, because I already know that my arms are too short to fight with God. So I just kind of do what he tells me to do now.
Mm-hmm.
So when he said he wanted me to phase out the entrepreneur business part and pick up the authors, I was like, okay, so how do you want me to do that? So I've been writing, creating digital content for authors, and I have a new digital platform in which I'm going to be working with authors, and it's called the Authorpreneur Academy. And up under that academy, I have really 4 levels to deal with. The very first one is the mind. We got to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get your mind right. And so
Yes.
once you get your mind right, you can get your life right, and then you can do everything that you're supposed to do. So in regards to that, I have a program that I originally called the Confidence Booster. But my coach was like, Michelle, no, nothing with confidence in the name. It's been done, overdone, and whatever. So the name of that program has been rebranded as Get Courageous. And so the way that I'm kicking this off is I'm kicking it off as a 5-day challenge. And it's called the Get Courageous 5-Day Challenge. And I'm going to be starting that March 1st. So if anyone is interested, what my purpose is for this is to get you out of your own way, to get you unstuck. to get you to moving. I was told as a little girl that a moving target is hard to hit. So if you're moving, then the enemy that is meant to derail you will have a harder time catching you.
Mm.
If you're standing still, he has a quicker time catching you. So what normally holds us hostage? Fear, doubt, insecurities, knowledge base, feeling unworthy. All of those things hinder us from moving forward. So this 5-day challenge is a free challenge. I'll be doing it beginning March 1st, 2021 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're interested, you would need to sign up for it at solo.to/Michelle P. Jones. That's solo.to/Michelle P. Jones. And you sign up for the challenge, and then you are invited into a private Facebook group. And that's where the trainings will be done each night. So I will come on for about 15 minutes each night to talk about what your day, the next day, should look like. So every day has a challenge to it. So, and there is a free ebook that comes with the challenge. And I purposely did the free ebook because after the challenge, you'll be able to use these same skills. Even if you have to go back and look at it again and do a refresher, you got it right there. Mm-hmm. And you're able to follow it through. And so that's the first step of it. The second step of it is a 31-day writer's boot camp. So I basically walk you through the process of writing your book in 31 days. So at the end of that 31 days, your book is finished and it's ready for the next step in your publishing process. So that's the second phase of it. The third phase of it is the journey to entrepreneurship. That is where I teach you how to create a business around your writing journey. What it needs to look like, what opportunities are available to you, all of that. And then the top tier, well, it's one of the top tiers. I took this topic from my girl Tracy, and I asked permission to have it. I asked permission. So the top one is from author to authority. And basically, I teach other authors that are ready to take the next step to do what I do. Because we all have an audience base. I can't touch everybody. But if I can do what Jesus did with the 12 disciples, then I can make sure that there are other mini-me's running around that is sharing the information with other authors that empowers them so that they can thereby step into their greatness. So are you ready for the PA resistance? You ready?
Come on, what we got?
I will be kicking off this year the VIP Authors Experience.
Okay.
It is basically a 3-day retreat where you will bring your finished writing product. And it'll already be edited. And we will take you from the editing process to the book launch readiness in that weekend.
Awesome.
So you'll have a half a day of pampering.
Oh, yeah.
The next morning, you'll have the manscaping for men's and the beat face for women. And then we will do your pictures. We will do your video spots that you will use for your advertising. You'll have an opportunity to work with a PR professional to help you make sure that you have that right face on, your game face ready when it comes due. You will get private one-on-one time with me and with the other coaches that will be there. You will have your pick of 3 to 5 covers that have been designed for your book to choose from. And then the last night of the retreat, that Saturday night, you will do your live and you will introduce your book cover for your pre-sale of your book for the very first time. So when you leave, you got everything that you need to step into the space as being an author and going the next step. You'll have your marketing,
Awesome.
you'll have your PR, you'll have your book cover, you'll have your content, your digital content to help for you to put out there for people to get it. You'll know about being able to have your endorsement group primed and ready to start doing what it is that they do, because when you leave me on that Sunday afternoon, you're ready to hit the ground running.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Unheard of awesome. That's what I'm talking about. That's what it's about. Creating things that are so necessary that's not being done, or at least I don't hear about it being done. Maybe I'm in the wrong circles because I ain't never heard about that being done before. Oh, I applaud you on that one. Let me say this. Let me toot her horn. I don't know if we mentioned this, but did we mention that she is an international best-selling author? Did we say that? Did we? Did we say that? Okay, I'm just saying in case y'all needed that, in case y'all needed her to have just a little bit more, just a little bit more credentials. Okay, okay. I just thought I'd throw that out there real quick, just in case they didn't know.
Well, Tracy,
Awesome.
not to toot my own horn, but I've put 4 books out in the past 4 years. So,
I mean, she just saying. She just saying. She's not being cocky. She just saying.
no, I'm just saying, as the old folks say, it's a poor duck that or dog that don't wag his own tail.
Well, come on. I love it. But no, I am impressed with that. You have been a busy bee, like you said, and because I do know her, that's just scratching the surface with this woman. This woman got so many other things going on. I don't even know how I don't even think she sleeps. I think she's a vampire. Yeah, personally. I think I
You
think
want to
she's
know
a
my
vampire.
secret? I have a whole calendar and notebook in this phone that is linked up to my computer. So it keeps me straight. It sends, and I am one that I believe in sending myself reminders and notifications, because we do. We live busy lives. We get caught up in. I write in isolation. So
Hmm.
because I write in isolation, I block everything else out. Well,
Hmm.
there's sometimes that I've agreed to do something and I forgot. And my phone
Hmm.
is set up that if a notification comes in, that's a calendar notification,
Hmm.
it's going to notify me. It's going to make a noise for me to pick it up. So, you do those things to help you be the best you that you can. My friend Melanie says it like this. It's about how you show up.
Oh, I like that.
And
I
so
like that.
how are you showing up in your own life? How are you showing up as an author? How are
Hmm.
you showing up in the spaces that God has divinely assigned you to step into?
Yes. Yes. I love that. Okay, so like I said, since we are already running behind time, I don't want because I know that you got to move on to the next thing in your life, busy bee. But I do want you to quickly touch on. Now we talked about ways to monetize. I mean, and I mean that was scratching the surface, but I mean, for free information, I think we didn't gave out some good stuff
Yes,
on
ma'am.
today. Now, of course, if you want more stuff, that's where you link up and you go through the coaching programs and you go through all those things. That's what people can understand. Now, I understand, people are like, well, I don't have money or I'm struggling. Well, you know what? Guess what? You still open your mouth, make the connections. Because don't just sit there and say, well, I don't have money, so forget it. Because you never know what blessing is around the corner. You never know. Somebody could be connected to somebody that has the resources to fund you. How do I know? I'm living the life right now. That's all I'm going to say. So I know what it's like to have a need. But when you begin to let your vision be known, you never know who has the resources to meet your need. So don't sleep on this. Don't sleep on any of the guests that I've already presented because they have something for you that is going to help you go to the next level. So, talked about ways to monetize, but now do you have any tips you want to add? Like you said, you want to segue into ways to actually make your literary masterpiece more visible? Touch on that a little bit for us.
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about in regards to the plan. You have to have a plan. Um, there are some tips and tools that you can use to beat the algorithm on Amazon. There are ways to beat that algorithm and get the algorithm to work for you. One of the ways is how you price your book when it hits the market. Or if you're going to do a relaunch of it, how much you put it up there. So you want to hit that 99 cents, that $1.99, that $2.99, those prices that people don't mind paying. And then you begin to advertise. I'm doing a relaunch, or I'm putting it out there for this weekend because it's a holiday weekend, and that's one of the best ways to do it. Is to kick it off on a holiday weekend, because you can call it the holiday special. Put the book out there for that, and what'll happen is, as you are advertising and marketing it and people are buying it, it will move your book up to a bestseller rating. It'll move your book up as a hot new release. And so you only do that for a period of time, and you only do it for the ebook, not the paperback, only the ebook. Okay. So when you do it for the ebook, then there's a whole algorithm that's associated with it that will push that up. And the longer you last in those two categories, the more Amazon is going to be pushing your book. The more it'll be listed down there as a hot new release. And as long as it's a hot new release, whenever you buy a book, you see other people have purchased these books as well. Your book will be listed down there, as long as you stay within that range that they have. And it's not really about how much the book is. It's about how many copies have sold in an hour's time. So with my last book, Desperate Housewives of Biblical Proportions, I stayed an Amazon bestseller for almost 3 weeks.
Awesome.
I stayed at a hot new release for 5 weeks.
Wow.
And the longer you do that, the more momentum you've got coming in. And that was because I was in a pre-sale. So when I launched the paperback, I put the ebook up to its regular price. And so because I had that momentum going, and people had purchased the book but had not downloaded it, I was still getting those credits. Those credits were coming through. So that's one way. Another way is you have the content. Get some of your favorite quotes out of the book, something that's going to catch people's attention. Get your best picture that you had taken, put it on your presentation flyer with that quote, with the name of the book at the top or the bottom, with the location of where they can purchase the book down there with the name of the book, and put it out there on social media. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter, all of them. Just infuse it, because there may be somebody out there that's waiting to hear that one little tidbit that's going to draw them in. And so you never know, but you've already got the content because you got the book.
Yes.
When I say that is a wealth of a marketing program, oh my God, you got everything. When I put out my Walking on Water and My Stilettos book, my coach at the time, she told me, she said, Michelle, you've got the content. All you need is the confidence to put it out there. So put it out there. So she told me, she didn't have to tell me but once. After that, I was off and going. We was flowing. And so you want to keep the quotes short, though. You only want to have 2 sentences, 3 at the most, and they can't be run-on sentences. Because people have a 2-second mindset. If they can't read it in 2 seconds, they're going on to the next thing. So you've got the content. Use your content to market the book. You've got the cover of the book. If you are in love with this cover, plaster it everywhere you can plaster it with the e-commerce site at the bottom where they can purchase it at, and let people go for it. The other thing is that when you are writing your book, create a community. Have a community around you. I call it your endorsements group. Those are individuals that you have invited into the writing experience with you. So how do you invite them in? You meet with them and you tell them, I'm interested in having you be a part of my endorsement group. And they'll be like, okay, so what does this endorsement group look like? These are individuals that are investing in you. They are going to buy the ebook when it comes out. They're going to buy the paper book at the pre-sale price. And they're going to write the review that's going to go on Amazon as well as in the front of the book. So, you know, those first 10 pages on Amazon that they show of the book, you make sure that the endorsement group's reviews are in within those first 10 pages. So when people open the book, they're going to see all of the wonderful reviews that you had. So it's also another way to have people do a beta read of your book. Because you get advanced reader copies and you send them out to the people. Now, before you send them out, make sure you have a do not disclose contract and agreement that you send to them and ask them, please do not disclose any contents of this book with anyone. It is to be strictly confidential. Now, I know somebody might be your mama, might be your cousin, might be your brother-in-law, sister, cousin on the second side of the family, and you trust them with everything. But this is your intellectual property.
Yes.
Protect it just like you would protect your kid. Because you went through the fear, the sweat, the tears, and the all-nighters to write it. Don't allow somebody else to put your stuff out with their name on it.
Right.
So protect yourself. So with the endorsement group, make sure that you outline, you know what you're asking them to do, and they have agreed to do it. And then you keep them abreast of every phase of the process that you're in so that they stay engaged. Okay? And so what normally happens is with that endorsement group, they will be your first purchasers. So they'll be the ones that are paying for the books that you'll end up selling to other people as well, because they're your first group that's going to buy them. And then they also agree to share what they know about the book with other people to get them to buy it. So you're creating that community around you. So those are just a few tips that I think if they use them, it'll work well for them. But make sure you do the endorsement group. It makes a huge difference in getting you a kickstart in selling your books.
Awesome. Yeah, we don't want to give them too much, but one thing that came to mind when you said something about quotes, what people don't realize is that you can also turn them into little like we talked about promotional products last time. Throw your quote on a cup, throw your quote on a t-shirt. Now, I will warn you, make sure that if it's kind of a short saying, go ahead and check it out on the federal trademark, because sometimes people have trademark sayings. So let's just make sure before you throw it out there too soon. But if you wrote it, more than likely it's not going to be trademarked or taken. So that's another way. In addition to put it on social media, you can also spin it and put it on products and things like that. So yeah, this is awesome. This was awesome. This has been awesome. I don't know what more people can get for free. Now you hear what I'm saying, for free. Now we could go on and on. People be taking notes. You're like, no, because it's so much more. It's so much more. We just don't have the time, because time is winding up. So Michelle, thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this tonight. Thank you for joining us and just giving us such a wealth of information. You always be dumping us with all this information. We'd be like, hold on, I can't breathe. All this information. Hold on. Hold on. Wait, oxygen. Where's my oxygen? But it's wonderful because it's rare to find people that's willing to share information. And just to give a sneak preview, if all goes well, next Monday we're doing a special edition because if y'all know, I only come on every second and fourth Monday, but we're going to do a special edition with a publisher. And there were some things that Michelle talked about tonight that she's also going. I didn't want to throw you all the way out there yet. You said you launching. She is also going to be a publisher as well, but currently we have a person that we are both connected to that's amazing, and that is a publisher. She's going to even touch on some things that Michelle talked about, but she's going to take it to the next level, some information that she's going to share even more, but from a publisher's perspective and what she's experienced in that space. And she's going to kind of wrap it all up for us because like I said, we've been doing this, and that's going to be our last show that we're going to pour into authors. See, I mean, I've spent the month of January, February, even tapping into March. Come on, authors, y'all playing games. There is no reason why you shouldn't be empowered and ready to connect with somebody to get your literary masterpiece out there. No reason whatsoever. So again, I'm excited about this. Again, I thank you so much, Michelle, for being a part. Is there anything else that you want to close or that you want to say before I close out the show?
No, I think that was all. Just, I hold a wealth of information that I'm not afraid to share. If you work with me, I can guarantee you're going to walk away with the wealth of knowledge that you'll be able to share. We were created to serve, and that's my goal. I am here to serve, with mankind being the direct beneficiary of the talents, the skills, and the abilities that God has blessed me with. And so, with that in mind, let's talk. I'm ready to put you to work. So let's talk.
Let's talk. Again, her website is solo.to / Michelle P. Jones. It is on for those who are viewing live, you will be able to see that. Also, for those who are going to listen to the podcast, all that information will be in the description, so you will not miss it. All right. As I like to do in closing, I like to always say a little line of encouragement just for you to just carry into your next week, your next day, your next month, whatever the case may be. I want to always remind you that now is the time to be the best version of you. And it's time to also live the life that God intended for you to live. It's on you. Nobody else is going to live it for you. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody else is going to be it for you. Only you can make that decision. So I encourage you. We encourage you. Everything we've been doing is encouraging you to live your best life. Live your God intended best life. Do everything that He's empowered you to do. Be the best version of you. And God is giving you people that can help you do that, whether it's in business or whether it's simply becoming an author or whatever the case may be. You can be the best you He intended for you to be. So until next time, we will see you. Be blessed. Take care. And you know what? Stay safe out there. Stay safe. All right. All right. Until next time, until the next episode, we'll see you later. Bye bye now. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode of Getting to the Root with Tracy Palmer. If so, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel in order to be notified when a new episode is posted. You can also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or go to my website at gttrwithtracypalmer.com. Until next time, take care and be blessed.